I feel more than ever that I will KO Joshua within 8 rounds. But I also feel that after Klitschko dropped Joshua with one punch, that Eddie Hearn will never let Joshua get in the ring with me. To me, Klitschko let him off the hook. I wouldn't have. I would have had him out of there in that 6th round. Look, it's simple. Eddie will protect his cash cow. You heard it yourself. How Joshua didn't mention my name knowing I'm next for him, but he called out Fury after the fight. I saw weaknesses. I saw a fighter that can be dropped with one punch. I even say he got lucky they stopped the fight because he wasn't even landing a punch when it got stopped. If they wouldn't have stopped it, he was gassing out again, plain and simple. I congratulate the young man for courage, but I'm next, and that is that. Look, my team let that fight happen because the WBA and Eddie Hearn asked us for a favour, and because Klitschko didn't want to fight me, but I'm done being pushed back. It's my time and I want my WBA belt, so yeah, I'm calling Joshua out. If he likes, he can give up the belt, but if not, then October or November sounds good to me. So it's your move, boy. To be the best, you have to fight the best. Those are the words of unbeaten Cuban heavyweight contender, the real King Kong, Luis Ortiz, calling out Anthony Joshua. He said he saw weaknesses. He said he wouldn't have let Joshua off the hook if that was him in the 6th round, dropping Joshua. He said that the stoppage was premature and that Joshua was gassing out again and that Klitschko might have come back at him. As far as the stoppage, I think he has a valid point there. I think the stoppage was a bit premature and he might have gassed out again and Klitschko might have come back and got him. You never know. Stranger things have happened in boxing. It seems unlikely because of the fact that Klitschko had been down twice in the same round. But boxing is crazy, man. There's all kinds of stuff that happens which shocks and surprises people. So I am one of those people who feels as though the stoppage was a bit premature. As far as all the other stuff that Ortiz said, he would have done this, he would have done that. Eddie Hearn's protecting Joshua. I mean, I don't know about that. If this fight actually goes ahead and Joshua don't get stripped and he don't have to go fight Klitschko instead or whatever in a rematch, how do you guys see Luis Ortiz faring against Anthony Joshua? I've seen some people say a lot of really disparaging things about Luis Ortiz as a fighter. They say, well, he struggled with Malik Scott, he struggled with Dave Allen. I don't think he struggled with either guy. I mean, he struggled to get Malik Scott out of there, but it's not like he was losing rounds. It's not like he was taking a beating. It's not like he was getting outboxed. No, he just had a very negative opponent who is slick, who does have good movement, who he did drop a bunch of times. He just couldn't get him out of there because the guy was so damn negative. I don't see that as having any bearing on how Luis Ortiz would do against Joshua. Because Joshua don't fight anything like Malik Scott. He's not as slick as Scott. He don't move like Scott. He'll be coming to actually throw punches and therefore he'll make himself easier to hit than Malik Scott was. Much easier. I mean, he's much heavier and bigger than Malik Scott. He's a much more stationary target. So I don't see any bearing on the potential Ortiz-Joshua fight when it comes to how Ortiz performed against Malik Scott. I think it's irrelevant. And as far as Dave Allen, I mean, Dave Allen is a tough guy. So Ortiz took a few rounds to get him out, but he still got him out. I don't see what the problem is, personally. So I'd like to see Ortiz-Joshua. Joshua's a lot bigger than Ortiz, taller, heavier, also younger and fresher. I think it would be a very, very entertaining fight, an interesting fight, a fight in which I would pick Joshua to win, but I certainly wouldn't discount Luis Ortiz. I'm actually excited for that fight. That's a fight I'd actually rather see next over a Klitschko rematch. I'd like to see Joshua versus Ortiz. Will it happen? Will Eddie Hearn protect Joshua from Ortiz? Obviously, Ortiz is no longer with Eddie Hearn. He was only with him on a fight-by-fight basis. He's now signed with Al Heyman. And he's still with Dade Promotions, I believe it is. I think they're based in Florida. So If the fight happens, how do you see it going? Who would you pick as a winner? And what do you think about the things that Luis Ortiz has said here? Again, just to reiterate, if Vladimir Klitschko decides to execute his rematch clause with Anthony Joshua, then there's the potential that Joshua could get stripped of one or both of his titles for not fighting his mandatory. More likely he gets stripped of the IBF belt, but there's also a possibility he could get stripped of the WBA. I certainly hope that don't happen. He'll end up in the same situation as Tyson Fury, and the heavyweight division will be more complicated than it was previously. Whereas Joshua's consolidated a couple of the belts, and he's been talking about unifications. So that's what we want. We want a unified champion. Because after somebody unifies the belts, even if he gets stripped of certain belts, he's still universally recognized as the champion. Because he got all the titles and then nobody beat him for the titles. They just got stripped of him. Yeah, so he'll be universally recognized as the champion by going around and unifying and beating all the other guys. I mean, in a sense, Tyson Fury didn't actually do that. Tyson Fury beat one man, and he did beat the man. He beat the best guy in the division. But since that time, other champions, well, there were other champions around. There was Deontay Wilder, Parker has emerged as a champion, so on and so forth. Had Tyson Fury been able to keep hold of those belts, maybe he could have unified with Wilder. If he'd won that fight, then he could have taken on all the contenders and proved himself to be the man in the division. Then if he got stripped, it'd be like, whatever. We know Tyson Fury's the man. We know that he's beat everybody. But as it stands right now, Tyson Fury's only beaten one top guy in the heavyweight division. That's Klitschko. Same for Joshua. Joshua's only beaten one of the top guys. So, as far as I'm concerned, the heavyweight division is still wide open, and there is no fighter who's head and shoulders above everybody else, who stamped his authority on the division. Not as far as I'm concerned. I think they've all got it to prove. Joshua has 2 belts. Let's see him unify, and whoever can get all the belts, they'll be the man. Drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel about everything I talked about in this video. Ortiz's comments, my comments, so on and so forth. It's happening. I'm out.